Ferrari's bad start of the season has led many fans to question each decision the Maranello team makes. It's evident that Leclerc and Sainz are straight up not having a good time in the car, and both are in danger of leaving at the end of the season. With a dominating Red Bull, even Ferrari officials themselves start to lose hope of any chances for the title, so they're beginning to state some pretty shocking things. What does this mean for the prancing horse, and more importantly, how will other teams look at them now? Ferrari struggled in the season opening in Bahrain due to severe tyre wear, which put the team behind the competition. But the team also discovered a new source of unreliability. Even if the control unit issue has been rectified, the SF23 still has a habit of gorging itself on Pirelli tyres. This wasn't a problem at Albert Park because the track is much easier on tyres, giving Ferrari a chance to do well at a place where it has always done well. At least things were going smoothly until the drivers messed up. After discovering that Lance Stroll's Aston Martin could not be folded like an accordion into turn 3, Charles Leclerc bumped himself out on the opening lap. The Monaco driver made a bad contact with Stroll's car, sending him into the gravel and out of the race. This prevented Ferrari from scoring any valuable points. Then, on the restart at lap 57, Sainz collided with Alonso, nullifying his progress and earning a 5-second penalty that eliminated any chance he had of finishing on the podium. The penalty has been criticized as being too severe, notably by Sainz, although drivers in Australia generally lack a healthy respect for personal space. Ferrari has shown flashes of speed this season, but the team has to refocus before Baku. Ferrari, however, have now requested a right of review for the Sainz penalty as they believe the fine was simply unfair. If the penalty is ultimately rescinded, Sainz would potentially get his 4th place back, and the drivers behind him, Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, Nico Hülkenberg, Oscar Piastri, Zhou Guanyu, and Yuki Tsunoda, would all drop back a place and lose points. As we are discussing with the FIA and we send the report to the FIA, I don't want to disclose any details of this discussion, said team boss Fred Vasseur. The only thing is that about Gasly Ocon, and for sure we had Sergeant De Vries at turn 1, and the reaction of the stewards was not the same, but I want to avoid making any comment. Vasseur further said that their team has submitted a petition to the stewards to see if they can reopen the case regarding a decision made during a race. He explained that they're hoping to have an open discussion with the stewards about the decision, which was made regarding a corner where 3 cases were involved but had different outcomes. Vasseur also mentioned that the biggest frustration was from their driver, Carlos Sainz, who did not have a hearing despite the case being a special one. Vasseur believed that it would have made sense to have a hearing as other drivers like Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon did. He further elaborated that he did not want to blame anyone for the racing incidents that occurred during the race, and that in his 33 years of experience in this job, there are always 2 versions of events with different feedbacks and outcomes depending on the drivers involved. While it's not an easy job for the stewards to take a decision during the race, and that the case in question was a bit particular, giving the 3 red flags, 2 starts, and last start with 1 lap behind a safety car, Ferrari just disliked that their position and the Gasly and Ocon ones were treated differently. It's safe to say that Vasseur and his team will try to grasp at any straw possible in order to gain every point they possibly can this season. But what's interesting is the quote he and Leclerc said recently that really shocked the fans of the Maranello team. More on that in a second. We know that Red Bull have been fined for breaking the cost cap limit in 2021, and those fines will only hit them around the halfway mark this season. The fine was around $7 million and also a 10% reduction in aerodynamic testing for 12 months starting from October 2022. Despite that extra handicap being added to its position as world champions at the bottom of the aero testing sliding scale, the team has dominated the first 3 races of this season. Fred Vasseur commented that he did not believe the penalty given to Red Bull was necessary. He expressed his opinion that the penalty was very low, and if one considers the expected improvement of a team's aero over a season, which is usually less than 1 second, the penalty of 10% of that improvement would only be 1/10. Vasseur also noted that the progression of aero improvement is not linear, so the actual penalty would likely be even less. He also pointed out that Red Bull was able to use the saved wind tunnel time for weight saving, but he didn't think that the effect was massive. Vasseur clarified that he was not trying to make excuses and that Red Bull did a good job, but he still believed that the penalty was too light, considering that in his view, the penalty was marginal and that Red Bull was allowed to spend the money elsewhere. The interesting quote, however, was from Charles Leclerc, as he said that Red Bull are on another planet, but Ferrari is working towards getting better each race. "It's not good enough," said Leclerc of Ferrari's race pace. "We are far from Red Bull, so we need to push and understand what they found during this break because they're on another planet on race pace. I mean, for now, we don't know. We're fast in qualifying, but we're not fast in the race, and it's not by a little. So I think Red Bull found something big somewhere, and we need to find that. It is very difficult to understand because obviously the car from quali to race is not changing at all. But for some reason on one lap we're very close to them and in the race we're a second away in some parts of the race. It's crazy the difference, so we need to look into it." Despite all these problems the Italians faced during the first two races, the Melbourne GP showed some signs of improvement in terms of race pace, the same problem Leclerc referred to a while ago. During the first two races of 2023, Ferrari's qualification times were the closest to Red Bull's, but the team's race pace waned because the SF23 couldn't keep its tires from wearing out as quickly as the competition's. They've known about this restriction since pre-season testing, and in Bahrain, Leclerc even gave up his last qualifying run to start the race with a full set of new tires. The team made adjustments to the vehicle's setup in Australia for the purpose of eking out additional performance over the course of a race. According to Vasseur, the team could tell the adjustments were making a difference, but they were unable to produce the expected outcome for other reasons. The qualifiers also disguised how improved Ferrari was actually. Leclerc was also unhappy with how qualifying went, offering some sarcastic words for his teammate at the end of the session after the team's plan to use Sainz to give him a tow went awry. But Vasseur said this was only one aspect of the session which didn't go according to plan. Carlos Sainz's morale was affected after the race, with the driver being completely down mood-wise and Vasseur had to help him a little bit on Sunday evening. However, the Ferrari team principal further noted that Sainz's reaction was very positive and that they had a good discussion 1 hour after the race, focusing on the positives of the weekend despite not scoring any points due to various reasons. The progress has been made in terms of pure performance, and they still have 20 races to go. And also, Sainz was with the team this week for the simulator and was in a good fighting spirit. It's gonna be interesting to see how Vasseur and the team will end up figuring it all out this season, because it is high time for a change for Ferrari. We all want to see somebody bringing a challenge to Red Bull, and it's evident that both Ferrari drivers have shown they measure up. It would be amazing to see how they respond, technically, to challenges like tire wear, but undoubtedly there's a limit to how much they want to showcase to the public as well. Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. What do you think Ferrari will do this season? Could they come up with a solution to their problems, or it's another below average season on the horizon? Thank you for watching and see you next time.